I have a crazy Spider-Man theory.
Dude, that trailer was so good.
Yeah, and I know some people are saying that Tobey Maguire isn't in the movie just because he wasn't in the trailer, but actor J.B. Smoove, the actor who plays Peter's teacher, was asked which Spider-Man is he most excited to see Tom Holland share the screen with, and he said Tobey.
So Tobey was just confirmed then.
Yeah, and there's a theory that since Doctor Strange cast the spell to make everyone forget Peter's Spider-Man, Ned will forget too, and may witness Spider-Man hurt someone that he loves, or accidentally hurt Ned personally, which will then make Ned resent Spider-Man and make him want to become the Hobgoblin, just like in the comics.
This is gonna be hands down the best Marvel movie ever.
There's a crazy Pokemon theory.
Look, you better not ruin Pokemon.
Okay, well, this definitely ruined it for me.
Oh boy.
So in the show, when the characters eat, we see them eat meat, but what if I told you it's not what you think it is?
Well, what is it then?
So I read this article, and there's a theory that since we only see them eat meat, but the only animals in the Pokemon world are the Pokemon, the characters have been killing Pokemon and eating them this entire time.
I never even questioned what they ate, but I guess it makes sense that they eat Pokemon because that's the only animals they have.
Dude, there's even a list of what they ate. They ate Slowpoke tails, Chansey eggs, and even Magikarp sushi.
That just makes me feel very uncomfortable. I found a crazy Spider-Man theory that may confirm that Andrew Garfield's in the movie.
What?
So early this year, Marvel released a promo video with Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, where they walk by a whiteboard that has the name of the movie Spider-Man No Way Home on it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But there's something huge on that whiteboard that I never realized.
Wait, what?
So if you look at the whiteboard on the bottom left corner, it says "No Place Like Home." You know what that's from?
No.
So in Amazing Spider-Man 2, the last line that Andrew Garfield says is "No place like home" right before he fights Rhino.
Does this mean Andrew Garfield's confirmed?
I mean, it could be, because in the last scene, he's fighting Rhino. And maybe Rhino's the sixth person in the Sinister Six.
Dude, how did we miss that Easter egg?
Have you heard of the Up theory? This could make you cry.
Wait, the one where Carl's dead the whole time?
No, but we all know the movie Up is a really sad movie. But there's a theory that Carl actually died right after the movie Up.
Wait, how do you know that?
So in Toy Story 4, you can see in the antique shop that they're actually selling Carl's cane that he used in the movie Up. You can even see on the bottom of the cane, it has the 4 tennis balls just like Carl's.
No!
So most likely Carl's estate sold it to the antique shop because Carl doesn't need it anymore because he's dead. And Toy Story 4 came out 10 years after the movie Up. And in the movie Up, Carl was 78 years old. So about 10 years later, he'd be around 88 years old.
Dude, you just ruined my entire day. I have a crazy Big Hero 6 theory.
All right, let's hear it.
So we all know Hero, and he's like a kid genius that builds super cool inventions.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, what else has he created besides what's just in the movie? But there's a theory that he built and designed Eve from WALL-E, and he gave his work to the company by and large.
Wait, how?
So if you look at what's on Hero's desk, there's something that looks exactly like Eve's head, showing that Hero created and programmed Eve and sold her to by and large to use in the future, knowing that the Earth will need her one day.
That's so crazy. I never even noticed that.
And Big Hero 6 takes place in 2032 and WALL-E takes place in 2805. So it only makes sense since Hero's one of the greatest inventors ever. He created a bunch of different robots with many different purposes, just like Tony Stark did.
It actually makes sense because we never knew who designed Eve.
Have you heard of the theory on why video games have updates that take up a bunch of storage?
I literally cannot stand those updates.
Right, because sometimes those updates are so big that you have to delete other games. But what if I told you these big game companies do that on purpose?
Why would they even do that?
So there's a theory that companies make game files and updates take up as much room as possible so that you can't fit any other games on your console. So games like Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption, and GTA all have crazy file sizes and update sizes because they want to keep you from downloading and buying other competing games.
The most recent Call of Duty was like 200 gigs.
Exactly, and that's without the updates. And the average console size is 500 gigs, so it's almost taking up half the console.
And that's why I only have like 2 games on my PS4. Did you know that peeing in a swimming pool could be deadly?
What do you mean by deadly?
So everyone knows that people pee in swimming pools. Like, we've all done it throughout our life at least once. The average person will pee at least a cup of pee in a swimming pool.
I think I've done a little more than a cup.
So a scientist named Ernest Blatchley found that peeing in a swimming pool could actually be very deadly. So in swimming pools, there's a chemical called chlorine, and it cleans pools. But when it mixes with pee, it becomes a very dangerous chemical called cyanogen chloride. So cyanogen chloride is actually a very dangerous toxin that is used in war for biological warfare.
Wait, are you telling me my pee is a weapon?
When it mixes with chlorine, it is, because it causes heart damage and lung damage and can be very dangerous in large amounts. And it causes respiratory issues and makes our skin and eyes really irritated.
Dude, no wonder why I feel sick sometimes when I go to my friend's pools.
Yeah, they've probably been peeing in that pool.
Do you know the Minions theory?
I think so.
So we all know and love the Minions, but what if I told you they're actually killers?
Well, I haven't heard this one before.
So in Despicable Me 3, we see the Minions driving an underwater craft in the ocean, but we also see 2 other fish, and the Minions run over and kill one of them.
That was in the movie?
Yeah, but there's a theory that the fish that the Minions killed is actually Marlin from Finding Nemo.
How's that possible?
Well, if you look at the fish, they are 2 clownfish, and they look exactly like Nemo and Marlin. And when the bigger fish gets run over and killed, all that's left is his fin, which may be a callback to Nemo's lucky fin.
Gosh, Universal Pictures really wanted to stick it to Disney, huh?
Yeah, and Despicable Me 3 came out a year after Finding Dory, so Marlin very well may have been killed by the Minions. ever wondered what happened to Mufasa after he died?
Yeah, you really never know what happens to the body.
So we all know Scar pushed Mufasa off of a cliff into a stampede and died, but we don't know where the body went after.
I do know some people say that the hyenas actually ate Mufasa.
Yeah, so I read this article and there's a theory that Scar and the hyenas ate Mufasa together.
Wait, Scar ate Mufasa?
Yeah, so if you look at the scene where Zazu's talking to Scar in the cave, Scar's playing with a skull that looks exactly like a lion's skull. But there was only 2 grown lions at the time, Scar and Mufasa, showing that Scar and the hyenas probably ate Mufasa. And after eating Mufasa, assuming that's the only lion the hyenas ever eaten, they ended up liking lion meat. So in the end, they ended up ganging up on Scar and eating him too.
I mean, it makes sense because even on National Geographic, you see hyenas eating lions.
You know the Shang-Chi theory?
Dude, Shang-Chi actually might be my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Right? But this is a spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. So in the post-credit scene, we learn that the rings are really old, we don't know where they came from, and we don't know who they're signaling.
Right.
But throughout the Marvel Universe, colors matter a lot. The mystic arts are orange, dark magic is purple, and cosmic energy is gold. And that's the same exact color of the rings when Shang-Chi took possession of them.
Yeah, because it was blue with Wenwu, and then it turned to gold with Shang-Chi.
Yeah, so I saw a video by the Cosmic Wonder, and there's a theory that the rings were created by the Eternals and are signaling the Celestials.
How?
So by the gold color of the rings, we could tell it's cosmic energy. And in the Eternals trailer, all their powers are gold. And since the rings are so old, it only makes sense that someone with eternal life and cosmic powers created them. And there are 10 rings and 10 Eternals, 1 for each Eternal.
Dude, these next Marvel movies are gonna be insane.
Have you heard of the Courage the Cowardly Dog theory?
Dude, I used to love that show.
So we've all seen Courage the Cowardly Dog on how he's a super anxious dog that is always trying to protect his owners.
Right.
But what if I told you all the monsters in that show are just normal people?
What do you mean by normal people?
So I read this article and there's a theory that the whole show is seen through the eyes of Courage and how it feels to be in the shoes of a small anxious dog. So he sees all these monsters because he's a small, completely normal dog who is imagining strangers as monsters because he's never seen them before, which is also why his owners are never scared of them.
Maybe that's what all dogs see when they see complete strangers. They like shake like Courage.
And you know how Courage lives in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Well, that's because his owners are too old to take him on walks, which explains why in his eyes there's nothing, because he's never seen beyond the borders of his own house. Did you know you can tell if someone's a good person or not by just looking at their hands? And you could tell if your boyfriend or girlfriend is cheating on you?
Wait, how would that even work?
Okay, so if you look at your hand and you compare the length of your index finger and your ring finger, it can predict the personality that you have.
What personality do I have?
Okay, so if your ring finger is longer than your index finger, research has actually shown that you're actually really charming. So you're probably like good at flirting. And they said that you actually tend to earn more money, but you're actually more inclined to cheat on your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Let me just try to shrink this down a little bit.
But if your ring finger is shorter than your index finger, it's said that you're a really good leader. So you're like a good team captain of a sports team. Because you know who else who has this? Tom Brady.
Really?
Yeah, because it's really rare. So you're really special if you have it. And if your ring finger is the same height as your pointer finger, it's been proven that you're more likely to get married, you have a good memory, and you're less likely to cheat on your partner.
It's like whenever you meet a girl now, you're gonna be like, let me see your fingers first. Did you know that having bad handwriting is actually a good thing?
Well, I guess I'm lucky. I have terrible handwriting.
So you know, like in school, like how teachers are always saying like you have to have good handwriting. If you don't, you're gonna fail in life. But what if I told you that they're the ones that are wrong?
Dude, my teachers used to hate me because of my handwriting.
So recently, a lot of research has been done on people's handwriting, and they found that people with bad handwriting could actually be a genius. So if you look at Elon Musk, who created Tesla and SpaceX, and Gary Vee, they're all geniuses, right? But the one thing they have in common is that they kind of have sloppy handwriting. And Kanye West is one of the most creative artists there is, but he's known for having really bad handwriting where people can't even read his writing. Basically, it's that their brain is really gifted and thinks faster than they can write. So it's like their brain is going so fast that their hand can't even catch up with their brain. And that's why it's so messy.
Dude, I always thought the people with the neatest handwriting were always the smartest. But if I told you dinosaurs are coming back?
What do you mean coming back?
So earlier this year, there was a fossil of a dinosaur that was found, but this fossil was completely different than all the other ones that were found because there was dinosaur DNA found on it.
What can they really do with that though?
So it's been proven throughout the years that we've been able to successfully clone 33 different kinds of animals, like monkeys, dogs, and horses. They have even talked about trying to bring back a woolly mammoth, and those have been extinct for over 10,000 years, but all they need is the DNA.
Do you think they can actually turn it into an actual dinosaur?
Well, there's a theory that we're actually going to be able to successfully create and clone a dinosaur from the DNA that was found on that fossil. And even Elon Musk's business partner, Max Hodak, the co-founder of Neuralink, said they can successfully make a Jurassic Park in real life.
Well, you know, if Elon Musk is involved, then it must be possible.
Disneyland's going to have some competition.
So there's a crazy theory about the new Hawkeye Disney Plus show.
Dude, that show is going to be so good.
So in the trailer, we see that Hawkeye has a hearing aid, and in the comics, he loses his hearing over time. But what if I told you that in the show, there's a different reason?
What's the reason?
So remember at the end of Black Widow where we see Val's talking to Yelena Belova and basically lying to her, telling her that Clint Barton's the one that killed Natasha.
Yeah.
So this is where the theory comes in. What if Yelena Belova actually believes Val, and she goes out to get revenge on Clint and beats him up really bad because he doesn't want to fight her back because he feels bad for Natasha's death and he feels responsible for it. But in the process of getting beat up really bad by Yelena, he ends up losing his hearing.
That would make sense because Yelena doesn't really know how Natasha died.
Right. Also in the trailer, there's a new character named Echo where she could like mimic any of her enemies' fighting styles. And she's also deaf, so it makes sense why she's in the show because Clint is losing his hearing. And now she can help Clint be able to learn how to fight without being able to hear.
Dude, Disney can take all my money. This show's gonna be so good. Ever wondered how Phineas and Ferb's inventions always disappear at the perfect time?
Yeah, it's always right before the mom can see it.
Yeah, and when it disappears, it's usually because Dr. Doofenshmirtz's machine hits it. But what if I told you the boys aren't just getting lucky?
Okay, then what happens then?
So I read this article, and there's a theory that Perry is the real reason why the boys never get caught.
How?
So at the beginning of the episodes, Perry always leaves right after the boys plan out their day, but he's always there to hear what they're gonna do. And when their inventions disappear, it's usually because Perry is pointing Dr. Doofenshmirtz's machine in the right direction to destroy their invention, because Perry knows exactly what would happen to the boys if their mom catches them.
Literally almost every episode, Perry comes in clutch for them. What if I told you that time travel is actually real?
Like Back to the Future time travel?
Exactly. So everyone always wonders if they could time travel to the past or to the future. But what if I told you someone actually did it?
What?
So I read this article. So back in 1995, Mike Tyson had a fight against Peter McNeely. And there's a guy in the audience, right, filming the fight on a smartphone. Back in 1995, there were no smartphones. The only phones they had were these really big phones. Even some smartphone inventors have said that it doesn't make sense how this guy has a smartphone when they weren't even invented yet.
Wait, that's so crazy.
Even Mike Tyson thinks he's a time traveler. And what's even crazier is that people have tried to go find this guy, but no one's ever found him.
Dude, this guy definitely went back to the future. Do you know the Inside Out theory?
No.
So the movie's about a girl named Riley, and she's struggling to start a new life away from her hometown, but her emotions are trying to make the best life it could be for her.
Dude, Inside Out is so sad.
Yeah, but what if I told you there's something about Riley that nobody knows?
Oh, here you go. You're gonna ruin everybody's day.
Maybe. So there's a theory that Riley's actually adopted, because if you look at her parents, they both have brown eyes and brown hair. But if you look at Riley, she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and it's almost scientifically impossible for that to happen.
Wait, that is kind of weird.
And you know how there's different islands in Riley's head that are powered by her different core memories?
Yeah, like Friendship Island and all those different ones.
Yeah, and if you look at Family Island, Riley's family tree is on it. But if you look at the family tree, all the pictures are blank because we don't know who her family is, and she doesn't either because it's all powered by her core memories.
I never even noticed that detail, but I guess it makes sense because she doesn't even know who her family is.